Well, hi, welcome back. This should be a quick video. I just wanted to, make a video to make a video. It's just something I came across on social media. The artist formerly known as Twitter, or the not-so-artist fully known as Twitter. I don't want to call it X, X, the social media site formerly known as Twitter. I feel like less goth looking right now and more like Jesus and Mary chain. Like, soon as I get my head round you, I come around catching sparks off you. I get an electric charge from you. That secondhand living, it just won't do. And the way I feel tonight, oh, I could die and I wouldn't mind. And there's something going on outside. Makes you wanna feel, makes you wanna try, makes you wanna blow the stars from the sky. The way that my hair looks right now, I feel like Jesus and Mary chain. Not so goth rock. Anyway, I don't have a screenshot of it. You don't really need it. And I mean, if you want to, you can go and look for it. I don't know the account or anything. It's just, you don't need the screenshot. But people show the screenshot, show evidence that it's real, I mean, it's a small channel. What difference does it make? It's just, I wanted to share, like, my thought on this. So, I get an alert from X, from Twitter, and it's like a push notification. I click on it, and there's like this guy, and he says like, "Oh, bad news, Canadians! Like they just passed a new tax law, and they're increasing taxes, and it makes it so entrepreneurs like myself just we can't thrive. Canada it's gonna see a cease to all ingenuity. Entrepreneurs like me, we can't make it. Couldn't you just die? Those poor entrepreneurs, they struggle so hard. So, I mean, I'm reading this, he made multiple posts down talking about how he was an entrepreneur, how much percentage cost he would lose from this new tax rule. And it's just going to destroy Canada's economy. Because for some reason, this suddenly means that there's going to be no business, no entrepreneurship in Canada anymore. I was like, okay. So I started typing. I said, I'm not from Canada, so I don't know why I'm seeing this, because it has nothing to do with me or the country I come from. But what I'm hearing is you've got some problems, some troubles created by policy, the system, society, the government. And I gotta tell you, I am finding it really, really difficult to care. The reason why I am finding it difficult to care is because everyone has problems. We all do. Welcome to being human and living in a civilized society, I guess. I mean, go and tell your problem to a homeless person on the street and see what they say. Try struggling with cancer. I mean, this is what gets me, is it's like, it is so hard for me to care. You're sitting there, this dude is sitting there with more money than I will ever see in my whole life. And he is acting like it is the biggest tragedy in the world that he might have to pay an extra, like, who knows, like $1 million, like, shaved off of the millions that he makes. And it's like, you know, working class, middle class, lower class, people who live in poverty, people who are homeless, you think we don't have problems too? Guess what? We do. We do. Everyone does. Everyone does. Maybe you should be fortunate that you're able to live in a multi-bedroom house. Maybe you should be fortunate that you're not struggling with cancer. Maybe you should be grateful that you're not living on the street. Maybe you should be grateful that you're not struggling with chronic pain and disability, and really, really hoping that your disability case comes through, because it could be the difference between having a roof over your head and being homeless. Yeah, there's a lot of things I think a person in that position is very fortunate. And it seems like this day and age in our society, we have reached a point where people have become so self-entitled, so spoiled, so brat-like, that even though this tax is not going to bankrupt him, you know, he's sitting there on social media throwing a temper tantrum about it and saying, like, you know, Canada's gonna blow up. Yeah. Well, you know, for many, many years of my working life, I had to try to survive off of about $22,000 a year. And paying, like, I don't know, $2,000 in taxes. And I didn't complain about it once. I'm more worried about other things right now. So I'm just finding it so fucking hard to care. I'm sorry. It's just, this is hard to care about, you know? And I really think that person has a lot to be grateful for, a lot to be thankful for, a lot to be fortunate for. And sadly, he can't see that. And doesn't understand, you know what? Yeah, welcome to life. Welcome to Earth. And living in a system. you're going to have to pay taxes. People who make a lot less money than this person have to pay taxes every year too. And they're trying to make it and struggle off of far less than he is. You know, this is like a millionaire. This is an entrepreneur in Canada. There's homeless people, you know, they have to make it, they have to try to make $5 working a day. So yeah, that was my thought. And I mean, I didn't say all that. I just, what I typed out was just, I don't live in Canada, so I'm not sure why I'm seeing this, but from what I'm hearing, so what I'm hearing is you have problems. Well, I'm sorry, but I find it very, very difficult to care because everyone has problems. You know, well, welcome to Earth. Welcome to being human. Welcome to living in a system. And I was going to hit send, and then I thought, this isn't even worth my time. It's not even worth my time. Because it doesn't matter that I'm pointing out reality. It doesn't matter that there's truth in what I'm saying. That, yeah, there's people that have it a lot worse than you, and they're making ends meet. There are people that are having to pull themselves up by the bootstraps off of far less. So it's just really hard to care when someone who makes millions of dollars a year has to pay it's probably not even an extra $1 million in taxes. It's probably like $20,000. It's like you have to pay an extra $20,000 in taxes. It's not going to bankrupt you. I mean, you have 5 cars. You live in a house with all these rooms in it, in a mansion, basically. I'm never going to live in a mansion. I'm never even going to step inside one of those. They won't let me in. I'm sorry. That doesn't sound like a problem. It sounds like you're just being a whiny little bitch. And meanwhile, there's people out there that are struggling with leukemia. Parkinson's. I just had a friend, someone I know not too long ago, pass away from Parkinson's disease. He was a hairdresser. You know, talk about living in poverty. Try living as a hairdresser and on their salary and dealing with Parkinson's disease and paying thousands and thousands of dollars for pain management and taxes. So it's just, I'm sorry, it's hard to give a shit. Sorry. It's part of life, dude. Grow up. Grow up. We're all a little mad at the system. We're all a little bit mad at our government. All of us. Some of us for different reasons. For you, you're mad because taxes. For me, I'm mad because the government took my fucking pain meds away. You know, I had stable pain management when I was on opioid pain management therapy, and they just took it away one day, just out of the blue. Snap, gone. And then they put me on the weirdest regiment of medications. It was 10 milligrams of Flexeril every 5 hours, 4 milligrams of tizanidine every 5 hours, 600 milligrams or 600 milligrams of ibuprofen or 10 milligrams of meloxicam every 6 hours. I was allowed about 1,000 milligrams of acetaminophen a day. I had 7% prescription strength lidocaine patches. I was allowed to use 2 at a time, no more than 12 hours. You can't leave them on for more than 12 hours. I could use it for my chest, my shoulder, or my upper or mid-back. I also had baclofen, Robaxin. Those are another muscle relaxer. Also given diazepam, 10 milligram diazepam to take, plus my 2 milligrams clonazepam to take at night. And, you know, like, they also gave me, we tried gabapentin, that caused mania and psychosis. So we tried Lyrica. That caused some pretty major issues, like complete missing lapses of time. We tried amitriptyline. We tried steroids. That landed me in the hospital with like a blood pressure of 100/70 and a heart rate of only 40 beats per minute. So that didn't work. And you know, like Zyprexa, they put me on that too. So I had this massive regiment of like taking these like powerful muscle relaxers and NSAIDs and you know, that resulted in waking up in the morning and throwing up stomach acid and blood. I was also throwing up brown shit, but I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to report it to my doctor. I just said I was throwing up stomach acid and blood. I was afraid to say if I told her that I was throwing up brown stuff, that she would think that I was just trying to make stuff up to drug seek. So I didn't tell her about the brown stuff I was throwing up, because I didn't want to be accused of drug seeking. So I just stopped taking that regimen. That's too much. That's really hard on your body. You know, the antidepressants, the antipsychotics, they mess with your heart rate, they mess with your blood pressure, they mess with your blood sugar, they can make you gain weight, you can have cognitive dysfunction. I mean, I just stopped taking those, and it's like, you know, why? It's like you guys are trying to kill me, man. Like, why are you giving me all these meds? I mean, like a whole pharmacy of muscle relaxers and anti-inflammatories and lidocaine ointment and lidocaine patches and TENS units and braces and ice packs and heat packs and all this stuff, just so you can avoid prescribing one medication, and that would be an opioid. It's just like, man, it's like you guys are trying to kill me. Shit. And pain management injections, the nerve blocks, the trigger points, the epidurals, you know, those are, in 6 months, I think I had spent about $24,000. Like, these injections, and Botox injection, that was one of them too. These injections would cost like $3,000 with insurance. And in return, I would only get like 4 hours of pain relief. Can you imagine paying $3,000 for 4 hours of pain relief, as opposed to paying like $20 or $30 for a bottle of opiate pain medications that will last you a month? It's crazy, right? And that's what they did to me. I was perfectly stable and fine when they were prescribing me tramadol, when they prescribed me oxycodone, not Oxycontin. Oxycontin is different than oxycodone, although Oxycontin probably would have been better because it's a time-release morphine, so it lasts for 12 hours. Oxycodone only lasts for 4 hours. I was fine on hydrocodone when the insurance company said they no longer wanted to cover the oxycodone. They switched over to hydrocodone. So I was fine on those. And I just one day went into my doctor, and they acted like, oh, they never prescribed this before. They go, oh, we don't prescribe opioids for pain. They don't treat pain. And then started acting like they had never prescribed these to me. And I had to, you have to play ball, because if you don't play ball, then they accuse you of being an addict, and that winds up on your medical record, and then you have to go to therapy and do all this other stuff. It sucks. So yeah. I find it really hard to care. I'm growing really, really callous to the plight of some of these right-wingers, some of the complaints from the conservative side. It's like I'm getting really callous to it. It's like, what's your problem? What now? What? And then when they tell you what the problem is, you're just like, seriously? If that's the height of your problems in life, believe it or not, you've got it pretty good. You got it pretty good. There's a lot of people out there working with a lot less, and they've got to make it work. How's that saying go? Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe I'd care more if, some of these people weren't so goddamn hateful. A lot of people that say a lot of really horrible things about the LGBTQ community. They've said horrible things to me for being gay. So it's like, I'm sorry. It's just, like whoever owns the property that I rent, whoever owns it, the guy who owns the company, he decided to raise rent rates by 46%. I'm disabled. I haven't been able to work for quite a while, so that's fucking scary. And then refuses to fix anything, So it's like, it's so hard to have sympathy. It is so hard. He caused, ever since he did this, the rent rates went up. I have never seen so many vacant units in this property in my life. And I'm really worried because all the rental properties, the ones that are owned by companies, which is the majority of them, like very, very few are owned by private owners. Trying to get a rental property that's owned by a private owner here in the big city, that's difficult to find. Most of them are owned by a company. And all of these companies, they all unilaterally across the board decided, hey, let's increase rent rates by 46%. If I were to see one of them complaining, oh, they want to charge me more in taxes, it's like, I'm finding that really hard to care about. Because as a result of you just wanting to be greedy and increasing rent rates like that, you caused a lot of people to lose their homes. And then you want the people you basically, you didn't just kick someone while they were down. You kicked them in the balls while they were down. I mean, like, you shattered them testicles. I mean, that is just, those are just squished. I mean, like, it's just mush in that scrotal sac. There's nothing left in there while they were down. and then, you know, have the nerve to go on social media and say, oh my God, they want to tax me extra. And putting that out there to the world, where like all these people have lost their home because he wanted to add 2 extra zeros to his bank account. You know, what about me? What am I supposed to do? What about all the tenants that live here? What are they supposed to do? Compete in a market that's stacked against them? Because, like I said, all the fucking properties did it. Every single one of them. There was a private property I know that was owned by an individual named Colleen. And you know what? A company came in and bought it from her. Just bought it. She didn't want to do it, but her husband has cancer and she has to take care of him. She didn't have the energy to fight, and the company just came in and took the fucking property, and now it's owned by a company. And the rent rates went whoop. And a lot of the people that lived in that complex were elderly and on retirement, and that's about all they could afford. And now all these retired elderly people are struggling to figure out what they're supposed to do, because they can't live there anymore. They don't know how they're going to move their stuff. They don't know where to go, because everything, like all the other complexes, did the same thing. So there's nothing you can do. There's not a market competition. All the competitors are not competing with each other. They're just all doing the same thing. And just to, you know, like, while the people were down and they came by with like a mallet and just smashed the testicles until they're mush inside the scrotal sac. You know, they pulled their pants down and took a massive dump on these people at the same time, because see, there was an entrepreneur who filed with one of the suburbs of this city to be able to make sure that he wasn't breaking zoning laws, because he wanted to build affordable housing. He wanted to build some affordable apartments, duplexes, and like 1-bedroom houses. And the city council said, oh, yeah, it's not violating any of the zoning laws. You have the proper permits, yada, 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 yada. And he was approved. And a bunch of, I mean, they were self-proclaimed Republicans. I mean, they did this. They actually went up to the House, and there was like a representative up there that's self-proclaimed far right. They wanted to deconstruct the local, like, town, like, suburb government, and instead of using an election system, put people in office that they wanted without an election process, and completely dismantle their local township governance to their specification. No votes, just these are the people that we want in there. We don't care what other people think. All because they wanted somebody in office that would deny the permit for this guy to build affordable housing. They didn't want him to do that. Because they don't want people that make below a certain amount of money to live in their area. And this is what's hilarious to me. Well, it's not hilarious, it's just kind of ironic. The particular group of people, the reason why this entrepreneur wanted to build his own private property of affordable housing, of apartments and duplexes and one-bedroom homes, was for the police officers and the firefighters that serviced that suburb, that area. Because they didn't make enough money to be able to afford homes in that area. So it wasn't just for the service workers, the service industry, people who work at the Walmart and make it so all these rich suburbanite assholes can go to their local Walmart and have people there, or their local Starbucks and get their coffee, and all the other service industries that they rely on so much. They definitely don't want those people living there. I don't know how they think those businesses are supposed to thrive if they can't get workers in the door because they can't afford anywhere to live. So that's kind of weird to me. I don't know how that works out in their head. But that wasn't even the motivational factor for this entrepreneur. It was firefighters and police officers. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like, I dated a cop once, which is not a good idea for me. I'm not gonna. I'm not. Yeah, it's not. I knew that wasn't gonna work. I knew that relationship was a bad idea. I told the guy that too. I was like, "You're a cop. This isn't gonna work." He'd be like, "Why?" I'm like, "Yeah," but that's a different story. But I realized how much cops made when he told me, like, it's like a lot of them they only make like $25,000 a year. That was a long time ago. Maybe they make more now, but it's roughly equivalent to whatever $25,000 a year is today. It's all they make. Firefighters do not make good money either. So I find that extra interesting. They thought that he was trying to build affordable housing to make it so that Walmart workers and McDonald's workers and Starbucks workers could start living amongst them. And oh my God, the homosexuality, the drugs, the crime. And the main motivational factor was for police officers and firefighters. It's just, that gets me. That's crazy. It had to be explained very, very slowly to these people that if you just tear down a local government system, you don't know, like, what all is entailed. Like, you're gonna have to find somebody that, I don't know, when I was reading the article, they went through this list of different things that city organizers have to do, and they're like, you have to find somebody that can do all these things. Like, it's not just as simple as, I know politics, I can politics stuff. No, it's more complicated than that. You have to be able to maintain roads, you have to be able to organize events, you have to know, like, laws, and I don't know, it gets complicated quick. So, and the idea that they wanted to do it without a system of vote was very bizarre too, because, yeah. So, a person who even wanted to build affordable housing wasn't allowed, not because of taxes, not because of the government. The local government approved it. It was these ultra wealthy conservative people in the area that blocked the guy from building them. Yeah. Nifty, huh?
So meanwhile, there's all these
elderly retired people. They don't know what to do. There's all these service workers. They don't know what to do. There's police officers and firefighters. They don't know what to do. People who are disabled, they don't know what to do because the rent rates just pretty much doubled in 1 month, and a person comes along and says, hey, I'll build affordable housing, and you have citizens stand up and go, no. Pfft. Fuck.
So
that's fun. I did not end up posting to that guy. Like I said, it wasn't worth it to me. Like, it just, I'm growing so tired of it. It's just, it seems like the internet is turning people's brains into mush. And politics are becoming religion. They're becoming religion. That's a video I've been needing to make. Why that thought process behind it. Anyway, that's really all I wanted to talk about was that post I saw. Is, you know, like expressing, you know, like I'm sorry, it's hard to give a shit, dude. Like you make millions of dollars, and you're whining at people who are living off of like $30,000 a year, $20,000 a year, about paying more taxes, and these people who are living off of a lot less than you are making it work, and they pay taxes, but when you have to pay taxes, you know, you're going to be a whiny little bitch about it. I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, sorry for you, but welcome to being, you know, welcome to adulthood. It's part of being an adult. It's part of being in the workforce. It's part of living in society. Grow up. And be thankful, because it could be a lot worse. You know? Be thankful you're not trying to live off of $20,000 a year and then your tax rates went from, like, you know, let's say 5% all the way up to like 25%. Be thankful that didn't happen to you. At the same time, your rent rate doubling. So be thankful you're not in that situation while battling cancer at the same time. Be thankful. Yeah. Like, share, subscribe, dislike, do whatever you want, comment. I'm out.